Well, hi guys, how are you? It's have been a long time since I see all of my followers on YouTube, and I've been occupied with TikTok and all the classes, but I am kind of missing my lives on YouTube. So let's say hello to a few people before we're gonna start talking about difference between spot market, between dedicated lanes, and what the hell's going on with trucking right now. Are you gonna quit? Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna buy the truck, or you gonna look for different job, or what's going on? So today we're gonna be trying to see how to prepare yourself for the market like this, right? And what do you need to do? I need to make sure that my back is comfortable because this life is not going to be that exciting. It's kind of on a little bit negative prediction of the market. But I'll be right back and we're going to see what's going on with market. Well, and I am back. So we're going to be sharing some comments, and I see that Facebook changed the rules. So if you are a Facebook user, if you want to display your name, you need to agree to the StreamYard policies. Okay. So otherwise, we're going to just see you as a Facebook user, so you can drop your name, so at least we know who is watching. First, I would like to say hello to my friends. Look at this. I miss you guys. And I want to thank you all for getting us to 15,000 followers. And I know we could do better if Alex would not take a little break. Well, and I'm a human. I'm not an ill robot. Some of you think that I just work, but it's not all the time only work. Plus, market is tough. And we also have to entertain other platform as a TikTok, right? We just started a few weeks ago, guys. If you're not following us, please make sure you follow us. We're there at 7,600 followers, and some of our videos already have like 120,000 views. So please support our mission. Make sure that you share it, and let's talk about the market. So, as a new dispatcher, as a pro dispatcher, as an owner of the company, you need to realize industry, trucking industry, what is the specific of this industry, right? And I really like to read all extra materials, magazine. I follow most of the logistics companies, 3PL, and I really love Coyote. And I would love you to guys start actually following them. So I will be using their data, and I will be overviewing with my input, and also we're gonna be looking at the debt predictions. So first, let's look at this slide. Well, I want you to understand, right, that we do have those three powerful words to describe our logistics, right, in USA, trucking industry. Wow, this is massive, right? Why is it massive? Well, look at this. Trucking industry is holding 72% of the nation's freight. 72%. The rest goes on air or goes on the rail, or maybe goes to some vessel or some ships. But 72% is still moved by trucks, semi trucks, box trucks, sprinters, all different equipment we have, right? This is why it's massive industry. We are actually making 80% of the country's freight bill. So that means that trucking industry, carriers, freight brokers, freight forwarders are getting 80% uh, for the freight which is moved by the truck. This is a big number, right? Look at the last year revenue. $791.7 billion was paid for moving freight from A to B. That's why it's massive. These numbers, guys, if you really think about these numbers, this is huge, right? And then why is it massive? By looking how many trucks we have. Look at this. We have 3.91, almost 4 million Class A truck in operation. And when we talk about Class A, we're talking about semi trucks. We're talking about equipment that are more than 26,000 on the weight, right? So Class 8 operation, almost 4 million trucks. Guys, 4 million trucks on the road. How many drivers are there, right? Well, we should have almost 4 million truck drivers. How many trucking companies are there? How many dispatchers? How many safety managers? How many accountants? How many insurance agents supporting this industry? How many teachers like me have to put kind of knowledge into people who come into industry? So that's why this industry is not going anywhere, right? So let's say hi before we move on. Hi, Alex. You look gorgeous. Thank you. Anya, I love your haircut. I really like you with a short hair. Very sexy. Hi. Hi, Burma. How are you? Oh my God. Sometimes you can call me and say hi, and maybe we can go and eat some Mongolian food. Come on. Don't be a stranger. Right? Alex, please do streams with a topic every month. Well, I am going to go back on the schedule and we're going to be doing streams every Friday. We're going to call it Trucking Friday afternoon. So probably grab the glass of wine, champagne if you're not driving, right? Hey, Alex, what's going on with Kelly? Where's the loads from China? Well, let's talk about this. So let's go back to the numbers, right? We said hi to everybody. So what do we need to understand? Well, that no single carrier or group of carriers can control the truckload market. That's why, guys, even if you are a company with one truck, if you are a company with two trucks, if you are a company with three trucks, you still have a piece of the pie, right? Look what the numbers tell us. 928,000 for hire carriers. What does it mean? That means that's how many trucking companies we have registered in USA. And from those companies, those 900 whatever, 29,000 almost, 91% is companies with less than 6 trucks. 91%. This is a huge number. So that means that we do have the majority of truck companies which only have up to 6 trucks, right? 97 operate with less than 20 trucks. And only top 10 trucking companies combine about 6% of the total market share. So when people say, well, mega carriers can take care of the freight, those big companies with 100 trucks, 200 trucks, they trying to control the market. They are trying, but they cannot succeed because first, they don't have capacity. They cannot own all the trucks. Plus, we in America, everybody wants to own their own business. You have to be naive if you do want to work for somebody else. Although, in the end of this life, for some of you, for now, this would be the best option. So let's continue with the data first. Well, why is this industry dynamic? Well, why is it dynamic? Because we always balance between supply and demand, up and down, up and down. So that's why it's dynamic, right? We also have a lot of regulations which have been imposed to us and still changing the way we run this business, right? We have change of market not on quarterly basis, not on yearly basis. Sometimes we have change of market even from the morning to afternoon, right? Friday morning and Friday afternoon market changes. Market on previous week and this week is totally different. We have changes in equipment. We have seasonal changes, right? And that's why you need to understand the cycles of the truckload market. And we have three cycles, right? The first two, kind of predictable. Seasonal demand, right? People who took my class, my previous students, they already know how the seasons can affect the market. When we talk about season demands, we talk about produce seasons on southeast in California, produce seasons in Washington, in Idaho, right? Maybe upstate Michigan. And we talk about, for example, Christmas trees are coming up, right? So it's going to be what? Pacific Northeast, it's going to be North Carolina, it's going to be upstate Michigan, it's going to be Portland. So this is something which we call seasonal demand, right? But did it really happen this year? Did we really see the spike of the seasonal demand? Well, we did not, because this is a very unusual year in trucking, right? Many of you were hoping for what? You guys were hoping for Florida market. You guys were hoping for California market. I was personally was hoping for Washington apple season, but the markets did not go up. And why it did not go up? Because we're going to continue, guys, you're going to understand. Simply supply and demand, capacity, load to truck ratio, right? And opposite way. So this was the first type of cycle. So this is the first cycle. Second one is what we call annual procurement, right? So every year business take their forecasted shipping and they go and they try to get those contract pricing on the high volume rates. Well, I can tell you this. It's not an easy now to do those annual contracts because you need to have so much data and you need to actually base it on a fuel surcharge, on what's going to happen with inflation and everything else. So people who really negotiate those for the big carriers, well, they need to have lots of knowledge. They need to make sure that they do not enter in a contract which is going to be hard to fulfill, but that's what's going on in industry. So this was our second type. And then we're talking about the one which is the hardest. And this one we call one cycle to rule them all. And we call it market capacity cycle. This is a shift in balance of carrier supply and carrier demand. And that's what actually affects our rates. So that's what we're seeing right now, right, guys? Supply and demand. And we have 7 stages of truckload markets, right? We're going to look at them. And for people who are newer in this business, you guys don't remember the bad market, right? You don't remember 2005 and 7. You guys don't remember 2013. You guys don't remember 2000. You guys don't remember. But the market always goes in cycle. It's never good trucking or bad trucking. It's always steady, up, down, low, coming back, steady, up and down. So you as a dispatcher, you as the owner of the trucking company, you simply need to educate yourself. So let's look. The 7 stages of truckload market, right? So let's look at some of the numbers. And we're going to be talking simply about supply and demand. Okay. So this is a stages. And we're going to have 7 different stages. So let's start with equilibrium. This is a stable stage. That's when the market is kind of fair for both, for the shippers, for the brokers, for our carriers. Let's go back in a year. Let's talk about probably 2019. So 2019, that was a year, right? Then we go into the market inflation. There is less capacities and demand, causing the spot rates to shoot up, exceeding contract rates, right? So what happening? Well, if you guys remember, not too many people were coming into trucking, right? 2019 have, and we had less trucks. So the rates start going up. Well, the next step, let's look at this. Then we got to inflammatory peak, right? And that's when the market went up because we did not have enough trucks. But market went up, rates start paying. So everybody start buying trucks. Everybody start opening trucking company. And what happened? We were at the peak. The prices were paying well. We were making money, right? And then we got extra trucks. So let's say our capacity of the trucks was here. Everybody jump into trucking. I mean, honestly, put your hand up. How many of you got to trucking business in the last year, year and a half? Just put yes, 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 right? So I just want to see how many people opened trucking company, became owner operator, maybe went to get dispatch training because they decide to be dispatcher because market was up. How many of you in the last year and a half? A lot. We're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of people. We're talking about 138,000 new carriers. 2021, we added 138,000 carriers. So that's why. Now we're talking about what? Market deflation, right? So spot rates start falling, contract rates continue rising and influenced by the recent peak, right? So that's what's going on right now. Hopefully, we're going to go to the second mark, inflation. Hopefully, some of you going to survive this, and most of you hopefully going to make to this. Somehow, right now, we're here somewhere in the bottom. We did not hit the bottom yet, guys. If you see my little mouse there, so we're somewhere here. We still going down, right? And most of the people asking me, well, Alex, what's gonna happen? Well, here's right now our capacity cycle. So let's talk about few things that you need to understand, right? So shippers market, more trucks than the loads, demand is low, supply is high, right? Rates go down. That's where we at right now, guys. And the last year, well, we had what we call tight market, right? We had more loads than trucks. Demand is high, supply is low, rates go up. And hopefully by 2023, the end of 2023, we're going to go back to the balanced market. I hope that some of you understand this simple principle, economical principles, right? Supply and demand. It's not just for trucking; it's in every industry. It's something that you need to understand. But today we're gonna see. Some people say, "Well, how do I survive?" Maybe I should look into dedicated freight. Maybe I should look at the spot market. Maybe I should become a broker. Maybe I should quit the trucking. Maybe I should just go back to whatever I was doing. Well, it's up to you. But in any business, you need to learn ups and downs. In any business, you need to know how to survive. And we're going to talk about this right now. So let's first see, what does it mean dedicated freight? Well, dedicated freight, this is an arrangement between a carrier and a shipper, where the carrier agrees to hold consistent truck haul shipment in the same lane at a fixed rate for a specific period of time. Specific period of time. The same rate. The rate is not going to go up and down. That's what does it mean? Dedicated freight. So let's look at the reality. If some of you were able to have dedicated freight, could you predict the fuel surcharge? So that's why when you guys negotiate those, when the brokers negotiate, the good broker, if they really know, they will always put in a contract that's going to be a fuel surcharge, fluctuating fuel surcharge. So some of you like, oh, I'm going to become a broker. Make sure you at least know those things, right? So let's go next. Why everybody wants to have dedicated freight and why? What is the difference between spot market? Well, first, it is consistent, right? So there is actually at least one load per week you have, or 3 loads, or 4 loads. Then it's a long-term agreement, right? It can be annual, but nowadays a lot of times it's quarterly or semi-annual, right? So you have the lane for 3 months, you have the lane for 6 months, you have the lane for 1 year. Well, it's a stable rate, right? This is going to be stable, but it's also gonna be sometimes excluding fluctuation in fuel. Is that smart to do? Well, I don't think so. It's smart to do to go to agreement which excludes fluctuations of fuel. It should include, and you guys who have to revisit this, right? Well, it's also based on mutual trust, right? The carrier commits to a certain amount of driver capacity, shipper commits to a certain amount of freight, and both party has to actually make sure that they actually fulfill the contract, right? Well, it's efficient, right? The opportunities are usually drop trailer, which reduces the driver detention, increases schedule flexibility, right? Let me move myself over, and service oriented, right? High performance, and everything else. Well, now tell me this: what is a realistic? What is a realistic story on all of this? How can you actually get this? So let's look at the reality. First and foremost, most of you have to understand this. How many trucks do I need to hold dedicated freight? Well, you don't have to be a large regional fleet, but you have to have at least 50 trucks, right? 50, 40, 60, 70, right? But look at this. In the middle of the slide, I put it for most of you. It needs at least 15 trucks in their fleet to handle dedicated opportunities. And since most dedicated freight is a drop trailer, carriers will often need more trailers than trucks. So it's usually 2-to-1 ratio. And for fleets smaller than 15 trucks, and who do not have extra trailers, it's very hard to manage drop pools of flex ups and downs. So here you go. How many of you have 15 trucks in your fleet right now? So when all those trucking gurus are telling the person who just opened MC and who has a one truck and maybe only has a power only, but maybe you're lucky and you do have your trailer, go direct, go get dedicated lane. Guys, this is nonsense. This is impossible. Do you understand that nobody wants to deal with a company with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trucks? Lots of those dedicated lanes, they need extra trailers. The data shows that it has to be 2-to-1 ratio. So what does it mean? You have 15 trucks? Well, you need to have at least what? 30 trailers. And you usually have your local driver who goes, probably drops trailers, and your drivers go and do the move. So let's be realistic about this. What this is the reality about working with dedicated lanes, right? And let's see, why is it so challenging? Well, it is challenging because you do not have capacity. But if you do have capacity, how can you find those loads, right? Well, you can find them exactly by going to shippers and receivers, or you can still work with a third party brokers, right? Whatever. It can be Coyote, it can be Trinity, it can be Alex Transportation, Brokerage. They have those lanes and you can get a contract. How many of you see the posting on a DAT? Load from Chicago to Memphis. And then in the comments, it says 3 to 5 loads per week looking for dedicated carrier. So maybe you don't have that capacity, 10, 15 trucks yet, but you have 3, 5 trucks. It depends what agreement you can make with this third party logistics. Let's say brokerage, Alex Brokerage. Well, you can still take dedicated runs if you can manage 3, 4 loads. So it's going to be easier for you to find those lanes than go directly to the shipper, because shipper probably needs 60 loads per week. Broker can split between 5 carriers, right? And he's looking, instead of posting that load 60 times a week and getting random 60 carriers, while the broker, as a third party logistics, he wants to make sure that he has to deal only with maybe 4 carriers so he can supply the capacity of the trucks, right? So that's why those lanes are usually going to pay more money, but you have to be committed to those lanes, right? You have to make sure your drivers can pick up exactly 3 loads, 4 loads, 5 loads, right? So let's see at this statement. Well, is dedicated freight cheaper than playing the spot market? Well, and we are right now, look at this. In inflationary market, when we have more freight than drivers, called carriers market, spot freight often pays higher rate per mile. But remember, we're not in that market. We are actually in deflationary market. We have more drivers than freight. So now this is a shipper market, and spot market pays lower than dedicated freight. That's why a lot of people like getting tired. Wow, I cannot just look at the debt. I cannot just look at the truck stop. I cannot just demand on the load boards every day. I want some stability, and I can understand them, right? So, what is the key to all of this? Well, the key is to look on how much dedicated lane will pay out over in the long term. And you need to understand the market and the cycles. Because let's say you decided that you're going to agree to this. Well, you need to calculate. Here is an example given between spot market and a dedicated rate. I really want you to guys see this. So let's see. Let's say you had a load from Chicago to Michigan, right? In a spot market in January, Chicago to Michigan was paying 1100 February, 1100 March, 1100. People who were entering dedicated rates, they actually were agreeing to 1,000 per load, no matter what, for 12 months. And everybody who was going by load board, spot market, they were like, oh my God, come on, you are silly. We're already getting $100 more. Wow, April, May, and June got even better for them. Did you see this? They got $1,500. So they were laughing hard. Oh my God, you so silly, you so stupid. You decided to have all these loads from Chicago to, let's say, Detroit for only $1,000. While they were laughing, right? But what happened in July, August, September, October, November, and what's going to happen in December? It's barely loads there, right? And they are actually paying $700. So people who do have contracted rate, they still getting their 1,000 because they still fulfilling their contract. So look at the numbers, guys. 12,000, 12,000. So who is a winner? You tell me who is a winner. Well, I can tell you who is the winner in this case. For the company who had contract, it was a better and easy way to manage business. And let's see why. Why they had the benefits, although they might be feeling not that good in July, in May, in June, right? When everybody was getting 1,500. But look what does it do for their team and for their business? Well, it makes life of dispatcher way easier, right? because they don't really have to go on a load board every day, hope for something, being without the load, right? So the life of dispatcher is easier because only what they do, they just kind of pre-plan who is taking this load, who is the next, and they are concentrating on a backhaul. So they are putting more time and effort on a backhaul to, let's say, bring this guy back to Chicago so he can take this load from Chicago to Michigan, right? So is it more efficient work for dispatcher? Yes. Instead of concentrating on booking 6 loads, he's only concentrating on booking 3 loads for backhaul, let's say, per truck, right? Right? Well, it also improves the safety of the driver, right? Because drivers know when they're going to be home. Drivers know their hours. They can plan their logbook. They already know the routes. So overall safety is improving. Easy on driver. You can predict what has to be done, preventive maintenance, efficiency, right? You kind of know your operational cost because it's the same route, the same tolls, the same weight, the same loading, unloading, right? What else? Well, you don't have to fight over the freight, especially now. Nobody's picking up phone right now, right? And you are keep loaded, rolling, and paid. And also, you can access new opportunities. Let's talk about that. Well, finally, if you've been managing this lane and you did a good job, what's going to happen? These shippers, if they increase volume, well, they're going to reach out first to you because they know you were doing a good job, right? This broker who knows that you were doing a good job will also reach out to you because there's still kind of loyalty in this business, right? So this is a new opportunity. So although you do not have 15, 20 trucks, you don't have 30, 40 trucks, you still can go this route if you understand the principles. And of course, your sales personality and understanding of business is there, right? So, and also it's making a possibility for you to stay in this business for the long term. People who understand how business runs, people who understand operational cost, people who can kind of survive and know how to save money when the market is up and have maintenance account, breakdown account, they can survive. So we are talking about companies being in business for 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years. What are we seeing now? 138,000 new companies came to this market last year. So far, 30% of them already out of the business. And we did not hit the end of the year yet. The end of the year is going to be very sad for most of the people in trucking because some of you will need to go and get rid of your equipment. You will need to say goodbye and go back and probably be a driver or maybe be an owner operator under somebody's LMC who knows how to survive in this business. So, my message to you guys is just to make sure you understand the basic terminology and market predictions, right? So this was dedicated stuff. Let's talk about spot market. How does it affect spot market? And what do we see right now in the rates for reefer, for dry van, right? For flatbeds. Well, let's say hi to some people. And we're gonna continue. Hello from Serbia. Hello, hello. Yes, this year at least 15 company trucks, not owner, because if rates will go up, owners don't take any dedicated loads. Exactly. Because owner operators, you know what? When the market goes down, oh yeah, give me dedicated lanes, give me dedicated. When the spot market goes up, he's saying, wow, I'm not going to do this. And this is the biggest problem when you have owner operators and company drivers. That's why a lot of small carriers who have owner operators, although they have maybe 12 trucks, but 6 of them are owner operators, in time like this, oh yeah, they will be doing your dedicated lanes. The moment even $100 more is going to be paid for that Chicago to Michigan, he's not going to do it. And you are not able to continue that contract. And this is a challenge. This is a reality of trucking, right? Okay. Okay, not this guy. Not this guy. I don't Carl K. Okay. So let's see. what's going on and why are we talking about what does it mean spot in logistics. Well, spot rate is a short-term pricing agreement, right, for shipping one order or series of orders within a narrow window of time. So it's something non-consistent. Maybe company does not make that many windows. Let's say they make more of them in a sprint and then their sales slows down, so they don't have consistency. So they do have those loads, they put it on the spot market, and what are they gonna do? Well, they're gonna make sure that they are looking for somebody who can move them the cheapest. So that's why usually they are looking for different companies who can arrange their movements, right? Um, and what does a spot means in shipping? Well, it means that spot buy freight, known as a spot freight, is an exercise where companies that needs to ship goods collects multiple quotes from logistics service providers, third parties logistics, right? So what's happening? They are posting out there, well, we have 3 loads this week, maybe today, and it doesn't have to be just today or tomorrow. They already know maybe they are gonna be shipping it next Friday, but it's not consistent. They cannot get actually the contract on it, or they cannot predict. So they will gonna go with a spot market for kind of this week, the next 2 weeks, and they're gonna overview the data, what was going on last week. So if the market went down and nobody was paying, let's stay with the same example, Chicago to Michigan, nobody's paying more than 700-800. Wow, of course they are gonna look for what? They're gonna look for the same pricing from all the brokers. So they're gonna tell 5-10 of them, here what we have this load, here's dimensions, here's the pickup, here's the delivery, this is how much it's gonna weigh, this is when it has to. So who can arrange that? And that's what's going on right now. Most of the brokers are going and they bidding on those spot market loads. They don't even have them because it's not dedicated lanes, it's not contracted lanes, it's something which just happens. And guys, let's be realistic, how many new brokerages do we have? How many double brokerage we have nowadays, right? So that's why it's nonsense. A lot of times you as a dispatcher, you as the owner of the company, you go to the load board, right? And you are watching the same load from 5-10 different brokers. Every time you call, most of them the price is vary, but if you even agree to book this load, what's going on? Well, they say, well, let us check with the shipper. Oh, let's see with the customer. What does it mean? That means that they are playing that casino, right? What I call casino. They submitting the bid, they adding their percentage, and they hope to win. And then 10 people, 15, but now it's not 10, 15 brokerages. We're talking about 50 to 60 different companies trying to bid on the same load. Of course, who wins? Sometimes shipper or customers, they don't really pay attention how old the broker was in the business, because they are also trying to survive and they want to cut on their freight movement. So of course sometimes they are choosing the lowest price. And usually who gives them the lowest price? Well, usually the brokers who, or mega brokers, right, like TQL, right, who is still gonna cover it no matter what, because most of the carriers are working with TQL because they take them with 1 day in the business. Or the brokerages who are brand new and who barely know the business, they just trying to win the bid, and then they trying to make that $50, $100, $30, right? So that's what's going on right now. So you need to understand the spot meaning in shipping. And what is a spot load? Well, this is an urgent expedite shipment that falls outside of the contract, right? Or low volume shipping, inconsistent. So something like this. And what does broker to carrier spot means? Well, the broker to carrier spot rate is the rate paid by the broker to carrier and owner operator. These are the pay to the truck rates paid by transportation brokers, right? These rates are not governed by the contract or long-term agreement, so they are spot rates negotiated on a day-to-day basis. And that's what's killing us, guys. Because yesterday you booked a load from Chicago to Michigan. Let's say yesterday was Thursday and you book it for $1,000. Today you're trying to book the same load. Well, today is Friday. So we have a fact of end of the week. Most of the drivers have to get home. Most of the dispatchers trying to get something. So the same load, $1,000, today was already paying $750. Did it stay on the load board for the long time? No, it did not. It still gets covered because we have so many people who still willing to move the freight on everyday basis for that so low prices because they simply don't understand that they are already running in negative. They're not making money. They already have negative balance. They are actually doing my famous quote me charity business, charity loads. And how can we change that? Can we really change that? Well, we can change, guys, if or all of us gonna go united and we're gonna just stop taking loads for at least week or 2 weeks, right? Or if we simply gonna stop taking the loads. But it's impossible. I can sit here and I'm not gonna take that load. Maybe Anton is not gonna take the load. Maybe Alberto is not gonna take the load. Maybe Lavrenti is not gonna take the load. But Mike, Kathy, Maria, whatever, they still want to move. Their driver needs to get home, so they still gonna take those loads, right? So that's what's going on right now with the spot market, right? So usually people's like, how much the brokers make? Well, the statistics is actually for industry goes by 15 to 20%, right? So sometimes it can be higher, it depends on the lane, but the average it's 15 to 20%. Most of you are telling, well, the brokers are the thieves. They are stealing all the money. They are taking, they keeping, they don't want to give it to us. Well, guys, that's not really true. Let's be realistic. Who controls the market? Freight. Well, not really the brokers. Brokers can kind of look into better rates for the contract per year, but freight volume, right? So our sales, our shippers, whoever makes the product, whoever buys, the volume controls the prices. Do you really think just because, for example, TQL is so big and they take, let's say, most majority of some loads, right? Do you really think if I am a big production and I know that the market rates went down and everybody else is doing the same business for cheaper, do you really think I still gonna pay TQL or Coyote or CH Robinson? I don't care how big they are. I'm also have the volume. They need my volume. They need my lanes. So this is going negotiation on all the levels, right? But for majority of this is kind of goes with industry, 15 to 20%. And then we have some greedy brokers, what we call them, right? So they get paid more and now they are taking advantage. They are taking advantage of this market. So even though they can give you that extra $200-300, they are taking advantage of the situation. Why? Because it's simply a business. Well, we're gonna come back in just a little bit and continue this journey. And let's talk about what is the difference between dispatcher and a broker. Well, the freight broker connects shippers with carriers, while dispatchers work for the carriers. Dispatchers are not a regulator, but freight brokers need to have what? They need to have surety bond and they need to have operating authority. So please, for new people who just came to industry, when you're talking about going directly and getting those lanes from shippers and receivers. If you are only a dispatcher, you can go on behalf of your carrier if you are their sales team. And if they have a capacity, you can go and negotiate. But if you really want to start going and getting all these lanes, then you simply need to become a broker, right? Get a surety bond, open the company, get financing, make sure that you have factoring, make sure that you have customers. Don't just go waste your money on opening MC. Look at this. Some of you guys are tired of being dispatchers. Some of you are tired of being drivers. Some of you want to quit on owning the truck. Well, maybe now you should go on the brokerage side. Look at this. I even found the data for the top paying brokers in USA for this year. New Wave Logistics. Look at this. You as a broker for them can make up to 240,000. First Star Logistics, same. Amino Transport guy, that's why they make so much money, because they barely pay to the brokers. King Freight and Transmazon. Well, King of the Freight are one of the cheapest brokers out there. So probably they are keeping more than 20%, right? Probably they are keeping their 30, 40%. So let's go to the data. So we need to look at what's going on right now. What's going on in this time? What's today? Today, October 21st, 2022. So let's look at the data for dry vans, right? As a dispatcher, you need to understand ratios between load to truck ratio, what the numbers are, and you need to understand the spot ratio, right? So let's look at all of this. All right, so this is our data, right? I make it bigger so you guys can see. I can even move this out so you guys understand. So this is our dry vans, and we have the data for the last 3 years. So we're going to be concentrating on the yellow. This is our 2022. And right now, we are somewhere in October, somewhere here. So actually, this lane is going to go a little bit down, and here it's going to go down. So if you look at the prices, you can see the load to truck ratio. So what does it mean? That means that we have way more trucks than the loads, right? If you look at the different years, right? So 2021 was kind of on the same level, right? That's why everybody was going to the trucking, because it was everything. It was that part of the market which was stable for all of us, for shippers, for receivers, for buyers, for brokers, for owner operators, for everybody, carriers. Everybody was stable, right? Look at the now 2022. Look at the dip we had, right? And look at our prices since July till October. And this is for dry van. This is the data for flatbeds, right? Look at the drastic changes. Look at these numbers are way higher. So that means the load to truck ratio. Well, that means that we have way more trucks than we have loads for that type of equipment. And look at the rates again. Between July and October, well, we're talking about 50 cents difference, right? And let's look at our reefers. So here is the national load to truck ratio, and this is our data for the last few months, right? For the last July, August, September, and October. And if you want to see visually this way, this is for this week. That's what's going on. And we're talking about, guys, loaded miles. So when we're talking about loaded miles, if you're a professional dispatcher, you guys gonna include total miles. So this number actually going to be lower. So minus another 20 cents. So if you dispatching right now, dry van, and all your miles, total miles with all your deadheads around 245, 250, you're still doing a good job. Okay. This is the data for flatbeds. So again, minus 20 cents. So if you're still averaging 290, 285, all the miles, you're still doing a good job. And this is our reefers, right? So average total, if it depends where you located. Again, if you're still at that 290, 285, if you're on Midwest, and if you're on West Coast, you're doing fine. And if you are still at 260, you are still okay with the national data. But that doesn't mean that that's enough for you to survive, right? And what else we have? Well, we also have the best numbers this year, right? This is the most negative numbers everybody's watching. Our fuel prices. So compared to the last year, the fuel went up 47%. So we're talking about average of 5.34 per gallon. So this is your trend lines. Let's answer some questions. Okay, so let's see. Alex, why rates Chicago, Michigan, and Michigan to Chicago not the same? Los Angeles to Utah is 3, when Utah to Los Angeles, 1 mile. Same distance, but different money. Well, Anton, that means that you need to catch up on population, density of population, production, manufacturing, right? So Chicago is way stronger hub. Los Angeles has a port, has a lot of import, export, right? So what does Utah has? Well, Utah has a nice parks. Utah has some deserts, so that's why. So Chicago has way more products that needs to be shipped compared to Michigan. Los Angeles, the same. So simply understanding the production, population, density of population, and what's going on. So this is an answer. That's why in my classes, this is mandatory to learn the markets, understand where people live, where this grows. For example, why the loads from Washington, Yakima area for reefer pay more than for dryland? Well, because it's a produce state, right? Idaho. So even it depends on equipment. You need to know the data. Okay. How do how do brokers get shippers leads? Well, they go and find all the shippers and list, right? And they go and start calling them. So you can get those lists from different actually, you know what? I was looking right now. I think I was preparing. I was preparing to the class tomorrow. And look at this. I'm going to share with you right now. Look at this. How do they get it? Here you have the list. I have 78 pages. Here you go. You have emails, you have the phone numbers, you have their fax, you have the name. You can find what are they shipping, what are their production. So this is a shipper contact list, 78 pages, and it's not updated in the last 6 months. So there you go. How do you find them? Well, you start calling, you start making connections. This is a sales. You start offering your services. So that's how they find. How do dispatchers market to carriers? Well, how do dispatchers market to carriers in this market? Market doesn't matter for dispatchers. Actually, if it's a good market, it's just your work is easier, right? And if the market is low, well, you may have to make more phone calls. You need to know operational costs. You need to connect. You need to know how to build a relationship. So market does not really affect dispatchers. It just affects how hard we have to work, because now to make, for example, if you only booking loads from load boards, well, you need to make how many phone calls? 10, 15 instead of 1 or 2? How do you factor in tolls for with price for loads for owner operators? Well, you need to calculate their operational cost. That's why right now, for example, Penny, I don't really take my owner operators to East Coast because the market is low. I cannot justify the tolls. I cannot because brokers unfortunately do not compensate for them. So switching the markets, going to the markets without tolls, this is my justification. So okay, market Los Angeles, Chicago, and Chicago, Los Angeles were not the same. Yeah, it depends. It switches because usually the Los Angeles market we do have shipments, and it depends on what type of equipment you talking about, right? So if we are talking about seasonal produce market, then of course rates goes up. Right now it's kind of equal. You go to Los Angeles for 4,200 from Chicago and you coming back for 44. Same market. The moment we have shipments, for example, now the holiday is gonna come up, right? Hopefully people start gonna buying stuff. The China gonna ship a little bit more because they stopped for the last 6-8 months because we had too much product in USA. So we have Black Friday, we have Christmas, we have Thanksgiving coming up. So where's the ports? In Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is gonna start paying more. In the same way, what's gonna happen? Chicago's gonna start paying less because it's gonna kind of go this way. Same with the Florida, right? Florida was affected by the hurricane. Loads were paying to Florida. Florida is still dead. Loads still not paying from Florida. But when you have a produce in Florida, Florida pays for 6-7 weeks, but loads to Florida then don't pay. So everything has their logical strategies. So market flips. That's why, as a dispatcher, you need to understand that and what affects. It would be very easy. It would be very easy. And usually, Los Angeles to Chicago always paid a little bit more. Okay. Because it's Chicago is a strong market. So if you talk about Los Angeles going somewhere else, it's different market. When I speak to a broker, they say we look like a good company to work with. What are they looking at? Well, they are looking at your safety, right? They're looking how long you had your authority, what is your insurance, if you had accidents. So they are looking at safer. I mean, as a dispatcher, you should know that by now, right? What are they looking at? They're looking at the company you go to safer, right? Company snapshot. So here you go. They can find any company right here. So this is a public knowledge. So you can put any name, whatever. Best transportation. So search. Okay, let's just click on any, guys. Best after maintenance, best one trucking, not after ice. Well, not a good company. See, they probably do not have insurance on file. Best 360 logistics, one truck. What are they looking on? They looking on the rates. They looking on your safety, on your maintenance. They looking on your rating right here. So as a dispatcher, you need to understand what they're looking for, right? Minima trailer. So you need to go and educate yourself, find your carrier and see their rating, see their scores, see their inspections, see what do they need to update. What kind of freight are they moving? Are you sure that they only general freight, or maybe they already added the reefer? Do you take paper products? Do you take beverages? Do you take maybe other stuff, right? So make sure you understand this if you are dispatcher already, right? This is the basics, one-on-one. Okay, TQL GBHAN does not use those shippers list. It would take too many hours, labor cost too high. What do you mean they are not using those shippers list? Everybody starts somewhere. How did GBHAN came this big? Well, it's all about the sales. It's kind of sorry that I'm gonna be direct, but this is kind of not logical justification of your questions. Well, GBHAN TQL, well, I can tell you this: GBHAN and TQL have their sales team, so actually they contact everybody, and they have their list is even bigger, and they contact everybody because in the end of the day they have their sales team who needs to go and get the freight. Process is the same. We're talking about the volume. So if you are a bigger brokerage or if you are mega carrier, well, you can get volume, right? So you are getting more volume. If you are smaller carrier, well, you still can get it and you still have to contact. So that's how you get it. In the end of the day, it's all about sales. How some people dispatch 5, 6, 7 carriers and some people never get the carrier. Well, if you're not gonna go reach out to those 928,000 carriers, from those, how many percentage is a small carrier? It's what, 91%. So when people tell me, well, it's impossible to find carrier, well, what do you do for that to find a carrier? How many phone calls are you making? How many carriers do you search? Who opened the company? How many carriers you go and you do this daily, right? You go and you look who opened company and you search who is new, who is not, who is in your area. So this is just a business. So for some people, this is easy business. For some people, is not. Okay. What else? Do we have any other questions? Because we guys gonna be done today, but hopefully now you have a little understanding between contracted lanes, dedicated lanes, contracted carriers, right? And motor carriers, also spot market, emergency loads, and everything else. In the end of the day, it's only basics of logistics. People asking me what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen with the market. Well, it seems like it's still going down, so we're not gonna see the spike until maybe end of November, maybe. It depends on what? On inflation and how people gonna be start ordering stuff for Christmas. So that's probably gonna be a little spike just because in America we all buy on Black Friday, we all buy in Christmas presents. So we're gonna see little bit a spike in some freight, right? But not much. Fuel is not really going down, as many of you have seen. President Biden, yesterday or a few days ago, he said that he is trying to reach out to oil industry and he's going to release some emergency barrels. So hopefully that's gonna help us with not spiking the diesel prices. But again, in the end of the day, guys, it is only business, business, and business. So they make so much money now on taking advantage of these prices. So why would they go down? Unless what? Unless we all strike, unless we all stop shipping. But to do that, we all have to get united. Better dispatcher market because driver operators are desperate. Yes, actually, I can tell you this. It's way easier to find the carriers right now because most of them, they used to dispatch themselves and they used to click on the phone and they would still get the load. Now, if you still driving, if you only on your, I don't know, that Tracker Edge or any other app, by the time you click, the load is gone. So believe it or not, for the dispatchers, right now it's way easier to find the carriers because they understand that they need to move, they need steady loads, and without somebody sitting in front of computer watching the market, making phone calls, they cannot succeed. So they getting tired of getting sitting somewhere for a day or two or actually taking way lower loads because they are simply cannot compete with other dispatchers calling right away. Okay. So, yes, Penny Anderson, this is the truth. So, is it hard to be a dispatcher now? Well, it's not easy, but will you become a better dispatcher faster? Yes, you will. Can you find the carriers right now? Yes. I can tell you this. I've never seen so many requests to add carriers as I am seeing right now. I am actually debating that I need to add more dispatchers on my team because the requests, like every day, I am receiving from 5 to 10 phone calls, emails, people begging to take them for our dispatch service. I have a very strict process. So that's why, we look at the safety, we look at the attitude, we look at the values. But I can tell you this, compared to the last year, we were looking for carriers. Now I don't have to do that. I'm telling you, I have so many leads that it's never been like this. So when people say it's impossible to be dispatcher, this is wrong. Actually, this is the best time to start dispatching career. So make sure, guys, you watching us, make sure most of you know our website, right? If you are new to us, right? We are right here. And I just posted today all our schedule for the last few months and upcoming January, right? So our January is already up. Our IFTA for January is up. Safety compliance up. We're also gonna have the last webinar on how to open trucking company on December 11th. And right now we are finishing our safety and we are finishing our October class. We have class tomorrow and next Saturday and practice. And we already starting our November class. This is the last class for dispatch for this year. So make sure you guys sign up. And if you're not sure, just visit and look at all the facts, right? So look at all the facts, read what do you need, who can be dispatcher, how to become dispatcher. So please just make sure you understand. If you're looking for that free load board, make sure you use our sign up. Make sure you use our code right here 000201747. And look at this, it went up again. And why it went up again? Well, because we have so much demand. You very true, like guy never stopped trucking. Competitor. Well, that's good that we have people who actually teach it. I don't look at it as a competitor. I look at it as a person who is trying to change industry for better. I think we come from the same background, Eastern Europeans. I do believe that he's Serbian. I actually should reach out for him and we should do live. But guys, in this market, we have a lot of people who teach dispatch classes. We have a lot of people who have trucking companies. We have a lot of people who do a lot of things. Do I worry about competition? Well, unfortunately, I cannot teach everybody how to dispatch. I cannot dispatch every truck. So I am glad when my competitors do a good job. I do not like people who cheat the system and people who pretend to teach, but they are not really teaching. So, no, not afraid of competition, right? Awesome class. Get ready. You're going to learn so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. You say we're not secretaries, we're pro dispatcher, but how can we be pro and not ask drivers if he can take a load while also following non-forced dispatching? Luis, you are in my class, I believe, right now. What did I tell you about non-forced dispatching? This is nonsense. Non-forced dispatching. Pro dispatcher. That's why if you are pro dispatcher, the only thing you're gonna ask your driver when he wants to be home, you're gonna know his equipment, you're gonna know where he goes and when not to goes, you're gonna know his operational cost, and you're gonna make sure that he is keep going from road to road. So if you asking driver every time and you promising them not first dispatch, I guess you are still a secretary. You're not a pro dispatcher. Pro dispatchers do their job. Pro drivers do their job. So this is the difference between just dispatching and pro dispatching. Should we put that in the contract? Well, first, I do not believe in a contract between dispatcher and carrier. It can be agreement because you offering service, right? Should he put in a contract that you're not going to be a secretary and you're going to be a pro dispatcher? You cannot put that, right? So no, you're not going to put that in a contract, right? So you're going to make sure that you understand market that you understand how to move your truck, you're gonna know where to go, not to go, and that's how you're gonna be that pro dispatcher. And pro dispatcher really don't need any contract or agreement, because pro dispatcher is so needed that on Monday, I do have my due date by 5 p.m. for my carriers to pay for previous week invoicing. Believe it or not, I get paid early in the morning because they're afraid to be without my dispatching. So that's your goal. Your goal is to get so good and making sure that you making profit, that you educating your drivers, right? Sometimes drivers has their own idea because driver doesn't see what's going on everywhere. You as a dispatcher can switch his game. Sometimes drivers are comfortable and they cannot be comfortable because again they do not see what's going on in every state, every city. So this is a difference between what? Between dispatchers. Well, a few more minutes and I'll be back and we're gonna say goodbye. Well, I had to turn on my light because it's getting dark outside, I guess. Yes. Alex, he's a great. Well, that will be great, Alex. Yes. Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, ma'am. Well, we already in a good evening, sir. Make sure you know the time difference, right? So make sure that you understand the time difference, the regions, and what's going on in USA market. If you are dispatching outside of the country, how many trucks on your roster? What else? The rates are too low these days, and why are the freight rates are too low these days, and why the freight is limited these days? I guess you have to go and rewatch our live because we were going through the data of the volume and capacity. So we do have overcapacity of the trucks and freight volume is low. Okay, you're a professional dispatcher, so you know already how where to send him and where not to send him. You are not going to know all of those before you onboard him as a carrier. Good point, Mrs. Smith. So how are you gonna know this? Well, that's what comes in place, right? Remember all those steps. When you guys gonna be posting truck and you're gonna see the loads, for example, from one area to Cedar, let's say Cedar Rapids for Monday, and you of course have a plan and you go to Z4, Z5, Z6, Z7. Well, how do you choose that golden load? How do you know where to take, especially when the loads do not pay? Well, first you need to make sure that your rate per mile still makes sense, right? It has to be at least 10, 15 cents higher than operational cost. But what do you need to do? Well, you need to compare. If you take him all the way to Ohio, what's gonna be there in Ohio? So let's pretend, copy. Let's pretend I'm gonna copy. So in Ohio, 400 miles. Let's put paste. So on Tuesday, we're talking about 326 loads. Let's go back. Let's choose something else. Let's choose Minnesota, let's say, okay? St. Paul, Minnesota, 1 day transit. We're gonna talk about also straight through or maybe Tuesday, but probably even straight through. Let's paste. Okay, let's post. 74 loads, right? To the same area. So which area is stronger? Going to Fort Recovery, Ohio, or going with a dry van to St. Paul, Minnesota, even by looking at the posted loads for the next day. That's what's going to give you an idea. Do you want to go to Minnesota with 74 loads, or do you want to go to Ohio with 325 loads, right? So that's what you do. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay. Alex, what lanes would you recommend to run for driveway for now? I like Midwest. Right now, I am only staying on Midwest. So I'm not going further than Ohio. I'm not going lower than Tennessee. I'm staying around Oklahoma. If you do go to Texas, make sure you have reload. So I like Missouri, Kansas, upstate Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, beginning of Nebraska, Michigan, right? So that's where go back and forth. If you can combine straight through, you can actually do it very easy on Midwest. Let's say you are in upstate Wisconsin, you are in Appleton, Wisconsin, you get straight through, get to the Chicago, you still get reload because Chicago, Indianapolis, you can still make that straight through transit. What does straight through means? Pick up same day, delivery same day, reload, and get another and still make the transit maybe to Missouri, maybe to Kentucky. So this is what I do right now. But remember, I'm also located in Chicagoland. So most of my carriers, actually 90% of my carriers are also from Midwest area. So that's what it is. Well, any other questions? And probably not, guys, but hopefully we're gonna start doing this again on weekly basics, right? Thank you for all your likes. Thank you again for supporting us. And we're going to have a special promotion on Halloween, right? Who likes Halloween? I like Halloween. So we're gonna have discounts. And I want to thank you one more time, guys. We are growing. We reach 15,000 here, but also start following us on TikTok. On TikTok, it's more rough, it's more direct, it's more for like entertainment. So people tell that I am actually making fun of TQL. Well, it's not like I'm making fun, but they are getting ridiculous with their attitude, with their prices, and they just have no shame whatsoever. So I have no problem of actually exposing some of those brokers. People say Alex is rude. Well, believe it or not, when you hear that every day over and over and over, and it just like sometimes you just want to like start screaming, guys, come on. We need to all need to survive. Without carriers, trucking cannot keep going. Without carriers, industry is not going to be making money. So please, I understand you taking advantage of this, but you have to support the main bone, and main bone it is actually our drivers, our carriers, our small owner operators. Do you think now we should take our carrier from Northeast to Midwest these days? Yes, that's what I just said. I do believe that staying on East Coast is not really helpful because why? Because the fuel is much more money, the tolls, it's killing you. So move them from Midwest. But again, if everybody's gonna move to Midwest, what's gonna happen? The prices gonna go down on Midwest. Well, hopefully we just need a miracle, right? TQL is trying to manipulate and dominate the market. Well, it's not just TQL, right? We have Amazon, we have C.H. Robinson, we have Coyote, we have XPO, we have Trinity, we have King of the Freight. We have so many mega brokers who are taking advantage of this situation. But also, you have to understand people who using the third party logistics, the brokers, they also see the change in the volume of the freight. So they are simply saving money on the freight now because they can, because this is a market. So hopefully we're gonna start getting out of this, but first we still gonna go down. So get prepared for this. It's not gonna be pretty, guys. It's going to be way different than it was in all those previous market crashes. Why? Because we have very unreasonable fuel cost, right? So this is not going to be easy to survive. I read TikTok is trying to get into logistics and challenge Amazon. Yeah, well, they have the followers, they have the data, they have the free advertisement. So anybody can get in, YouTube can get in logistics. Well, when you can shift, when you have audience, you can do a lot of things, right? But guys, it was nice seeing you. Goodbye. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll learn something new. And again, just remember, this is a trucking, this is a data, this is just understanding of these numbers and finding your niche. Or you dispatcher, or you a truck driver, or you owner operator, or you a safety professional, or maybe you are doing everything together, right? I'll see you soon, guys, and have a good weekend.